there, book lovers. So glad you're joining me on this Again and Again author interview. This month, we're talking with Leslie Colborn, the author of the children's picture book, I Want You to Know. I'm so excited to share this book and this sweet author with you, as well as the initiative she's taking with this book in a charity in her local community. Be sure to stay to the end to find out who we will be chatting with next month, and subscribe below for more book fun. Enjoy our chat.
Hi! We did it! I did it!
Yay! Good job!
Oh,
I know technology wanted to throw us for a loop there, but we made it happen, right?
You know, roll with the punches, I guess.
That's right. Well, Leslie, I'm so happy to have you here today on our Again and Again interview, and I'd love for you to start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Well, I have 4 daughters. 2 are my stepdaughters, and then I have 2 of our own. And we live in Wyoming, and we have a restaurant that we own, and so we are busy with that and raising kids and have a couple grandkids, and yeah, we're just living our lives.
Okay, I don't know if it's because it's before lunch and I'm getting hungry, but what type of restaurant? I must know.
It's a lunch restaurant. We've taken an old Victorian home and converted it into a restaurant. And I don't cook. My husband does all the cooking. We wouldn't be in business if I cooked. But luckily for us, he's a great cook, and it's like homemade breads and soups and sandwiches. And yeah, it will have been in business 30 years in October.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing, because the restaurant industry is always so hard to stick with. That's amazing.
Yeah, he just is very good at what he does. He loves it. He's passionate, and I just get to serve good food. So
what neat. Yeah. I love that. I learned something new about you today. Well, Leslie, since cooking's not your thing, and you obviously like to write books, did you always want to be an author?
Actually, no. My first dream was to be a marine biologist. When I was 14, we went to SeaWorld, and I wanted to just play with the dolphins and feed the dolphins. And then when I was 16, we went to the ocean, and I didn't want to get in the ocean. So that was it. That was like, okay, I'm not going to be a marine biologist. So then I went to school to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher, and I love kids, and I love being in the classroom. And so I taught for many years, and then our family started to grow, and I stopped teaching, and then I really just wanted to write books, and that gets me in the classroom, so I can be around people, and I get to share stories with them. So it's the best of both worlds, for sure.
Too fun. Yeah. What grade did you teach?
I started teaching 5th grade and loved the independence. And then when my daughter started kindergarten, I taught kindergarten. Then I moved into 1st grade, and I love 1st grade. They are just so sweet.
That's sweet. They kind of know what's going on, but they're not too sassy yet.
Right. Yeah. I just loved 1st grade.
Oh, cool. Too fun.
Yeah.
Now, you said you have 2 stepdaughters and 2 daughters of your own. Now, what does your family think of your writing?
I think that they're inspired by it. I mean, I started kind of later on, and actually the reason that I started writing it started as love letters to my girls. And so I think that sometimes there's some eye rolls when I'm like, hey, come listen to this. But I really like to have them read it to me. I like to write in lyrics, and so a lot of times it's good to have it read back to me. So I think that they like to be a part of that. They're really my first audience. It's very, authentic. And one of my daughters, she really appreciates that there's a lot of changes from when she first reads it to where the finished product is. And so she likes to see that process of the editing. But, I think that they really appreciate it, that a lot of times it's just, they're the audience. They're the original, authentic audience. So
very true.
They're very supportive. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure with a couple of years being teenagers that they're very authentic, aren't they?
They are. There's good about every age, for sure. Sometimes you just have to search a little harder, but I do. I enjoy this age. They're independent. And, yeah, teenagers.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
My oldest just turned 15 this
Okay.
weekend, and so we're working on growing that independence.
That's right. Yeah.
Too fun. Well, Leslie, what was the inspiration for your book, I Want You to Know?
So my third daughter just graduated from high school a year ago, and I just started freaking out about, did I teach her everything that she needed to know to go out into the real world? And of course the answer is no. But I wanted to take things that I had learned from wise people in my life, my mom, my mother-in-law, some of the other teachers in my life, and I just started writing them down and organizing them and putting them in a book because I wanted to give my daughter something to take with her. And actually, I had another writing friend start looking at it, and she's like, "How old is your daughter?" And I said, "She's 18." And she said, "You're writing her a children's book?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." It's just big enough, just enough information that she'll still read it, hopefully. And I just wanted to write it all down and have something to give to her when she went to college. And just in case I forgot some things just in case I didn't teach her something, then she had it with her.
That's sweet. Yeah, there's something welcoming about a children's book that, a chapter book for an 18-year-old saying, these are the wisdom facts I want you to know. There's something a little bit more inviting and acceptable than a children's book.
Yeah, and less words, like maybe just read it every once in a while. But yeah.
That's what I enjoy about this book is whether they're 18 or they're 2, they can open it up and read one page and still get some sort of little nugget
Yeah.
and wisdom, and they could put it down and then pick it up and turn it to a different page and just be reminded of God's truths in a different way. And so I think that makes it very accessible no matter what age the kid that's reading it is.
Yeah, and I think that as our kids grow, life isn't simple, life isn't easy. I mean, it's definitely ups and downs, and this book really is a book of encouragement, just a reminder of who and whose you are and the foundation and the values that we've tried to teach our kids from a young age. And I think we all need that in life, just that encouragement and the reminders. And one of them is, call and come home often. So yeah.
Nothing selfish about that one.
Check in.
Just check it, yes. Do fun. Now, this book has a special mission for you there in Wyoming. Can you tell us a bit about your involvement with the Unaccompanied Student Initiative, if I can get my tongue to work this
Yeah,
morning?
I know it is a little bit of a tongue twister. So about 6 months ago, we were at church, and we do something called Faith Promise at our church, where we just put our faith in God to provide extra funds that can go toward giving. And there was a lady that got up on stage. Her name was Corey, and she talked about the Unaccompanied Student Initiative, which is an organization here in Wyoming that supports homeless students ages 16 to 20. And I've just had to do something with that. So I decided that all the proceeds from this book would go toward that. I think about my first car. I don't know what your first car was or if you dream about it, but I often dream about my first car. It was a 1987 Nissan Sentra, a 5-speed. And I bought it myself. And I didn't actually get to drive it until I was a senior in high school because I made some really poor choices as a junior.
Oh.
But I remember getting to drive it for the first time, and it really equaled freedom for me. Like, I just had this sense of freedom. I got in my car, I got to turn on my music, and I got to drive. And also my senior year, I had an uncle come and live in our home with us. His name's Uncle Ben. If you think Uncle Buck, if you've seen that movie, he was kind of like that. And so my senior year, I had all this freedom, but then I also had not one parent, not 2 parents, but 3 parents living in the home. And I'll never forget, he was outside sitting on our front step when I drove up in my car, and I went inside and I came back out, and he's like, "Hey, Leslie, your plates are expired." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, I got it." And I was, practicing this responsibility, this independence, this freedom. And I did. I have the license plate tags in my glove compartment. I just hadn't put them on yet. Well, he told my mom on me. And in her loving, kind, most gentle parenting way, she's like, Leslie, you don't have your plates on your car. And she talked about the consequences. And in my most loving and gentle, daughterly way, I got in my car, ripped out of the driveway, drove down my street in first gear, going about 30 miles an hour. And I just, wanted my freedom. I wanted my independence. And I think about these kids at the Unaccompanied Student Initiative, and they don't have any parents. They don't have a home. They don't have that support. That some are couch surfing, some are in their cars. And so it really just touched my heart that we need to support these kids. They need that love and that guidance. That I had one too many parents at the time, but they don't have anything for whatever reason. And so it's been really good. We've been able to raise my money for them. They just did a ribbon cutting on a home in a city here in Casper, and they're working on being in 3 different cities around Wyoming.
Oh, wow.
So, it's exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And I love your big heart for these kids, and just to see what blessings you had as a teen and how you can now impact teens that may not have had those blessings in their lives. I love it.
Something that I took for granted, and they just need that support and that love, and our community is embracing them. So it's really a beautiful thing. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's so exciting and so needed. That age range kind of gets forgotten a little bit. And, even if they are in the foster care system, they're about to come out of the foster care system. And, they really get very little support after that. And so it's very unique and an area that you just don't hear about very much. So I'm proud of you in reaching out in that area.
It just is it's a thing that our community has really paid attention to. And this is just the start of it. So, every little thing helps, and there is a lot of need there, and we don't even think about it. Like you said, it can be, they're a little bit older, they're more independent, but yet they're not there yet. So
Right. They definitely have missed out on a few steps along the way, and still growing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Leslie, when did your writing journey begin?
In 3rd grade, I had a teacher who required us to enter the Young Authors Contest, and I wrote a poem that actually got an award. I mean, I don't know how many people actually were submitting into that category, but I was excited. And I remember my dad had a camcorder, and he videoed me reading my poem. So I would say it started then, but I probably didn't write again unless I had to in high school and junior high and elementary. But when my daughters were born, I really just felt this need to write them love letters to have with them. I actually lost my mom when I was young. I was about 27. My daughter was just 1 year old. And I had a hole in my heart, and I missed her, and I just wanted something for my girls that was going to last, something that, that they would be able to keep with them forever. So I just started writing them these love letters. And the first book that I did, it was in 2008, they actually illustrated it. And so, it was a fun thing. They were very young. They were 3 and 6 at the time. And then I kind of put it on the shelf for a while, and I went back to teaching. And then about 2020, I pulled out some of those love letters, and I just really wanted to put them into book form. So I started doing some research on how to publish, and self-published a couple. And so it's been a really fun journey, and it gets me back into the classroom with kiddos and trying to really just remind them that they matter, they have a purpose, that we should celebrate who we are. We're all different. We're all unique and wonderfully made. And I think that gets lost sometimes in our culture of social media and that comparison. And I think that it's really important to just embrace who we were created to be. And so that was kind of where it started, and we're just going with it. Yeah.
I love it. It's that message that we need to hear so much, that we are valued and loved, and God doesn't make mistakes. So we are not a mistake.
Right.
And the world definitely wants to take every good, perfect thing and make it think that it's not what God created.
Right.
And
Right.
so I love that that's your heart behind your books and what you're doing with kids in the classroom too.
Yeah,
So
it's been really a fun journey. I'm excited to continue with it and learn from it, like Instagram updates. We
learn as you go, all right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Too fun. Well, Leslie, what was the most inspirational book in your life other than the Bible?
Let's see. You know what? I think that the most inspirational book in my life, it would have to be my second grade teacher read us Ramona Quimby, age 8. It had like, I don't know, this kind of dates me, but it had like the cantaloupe sherbet colored border around the outside. And I think the reason that it inspired me so much was because I remember asking for it for Christmas. And I had also asked for a Cabbage Patch Kid, which that dates me as well. But I was so excited about that book. And I think the reason that I was so excited about it was because it represented independence. I could read a chapter book. And I just remember being so excited. And I did get that book for Christmas. And I just loved it. I mean, I could relate to this little mischievous girl. And I love that. I love that. Now, growing up and being older, I think I was really inspired by the Outliers book. It just talks about those 10,000 hours that you need, or that people have when they are great at something.
Right.
They're working on some of those hours, but you got to start somewhere. And so those have really inspired me for sure.
Very neat. I love that little Ramona still inspires kids because she just does not fit in the box. Yeah. And none of us do. And so we just all love that little character so much.
I know. Such a cute, yeah.
So fun. Well, other than Ramona, what's your favorite children's book other than your own?
I really love Stregonona by Tommy DePaulo with the, big Anthony and just, kind of breaking the rules. But I love the magic of it. I love the kisses, the 3 kisses. And then I also love, is it Sylvester and the Magic Pebble? I must like magic, like just that magic part of it. And then most recently I went to a writer's conference, and you listen to different authors and illustrators. And I think I have it right here. There's a book called Hot Dog by Doug Salati. And he's the author and the illustrator. And it's just about this dog from the city who has had it. He's fed up with everything in the city, and he goes to the beach. And it just is this beautifully illustrated book about a dog out on the beach with his owner, just kind of taking a little vacation. And it's just a sweet little book. So I don't know. I love children's books. I can name probably just a lot more of them, but yeah.
I know my husband keeps saying, Valerie, when are we going to get rid of the children's books? If kids are older, they're reading chapter books. I'm like, never.
No way.
What is it? C.S. Lewis says, sooner or later you'll be old enough to read fairy tales again. It's like, yes, you can always read children's books.
So true. Yeah, I love it.
Too fun. Well, Leslie, what are you reading right now?
I'm actually reading Undistracted by Bob Goff.
Okay.
I just love Bob Goff. He's just that he's like everybody's best friend. And he just talks about the things in our lives that distract us from what's most important, and our relationship with Jesus, and, the things that we get so wrapped up in. And he just is a great storyteller. And I really have enjoyed reading that, and, little reminders of, okay, what's important here? How do we become a little less distracted? Right. So that's what I've got right now. Yeah.
Very neat. That sounds like I might need to add that to my growing TBR list.
No, he'll make you laugh. He's just really funny.
Oh, too fun. Yeah. Well, what can we expect next from you, Leslie?
Well, I'm working on a Christmas book. I love this book. It's just a story, once again, about being who you are, who you're created to be, and your journey with that, and the insecurities of that, and not the character hasn't quite found her purpose yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for an illustrator for that, and I'm hoping that Marcin Pawarski could do that, because he's just amazing. But just trying to find an illustrator and a place for that, and I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to hear more about that. I love a good Christmas story. Always looking for something to add to our Christmas book list.
Yeah, I know. Again, children's Christmas books, we have so many. Yeah, have enough.
Too fun. Well, where can people find out more about you, Leslie?
I'm on Instagram at lesliecolborn.books, and then my website is lesliecolborn.com. Yeah. And if you're interested, I think it's usinitiative.org. You can get involved with that, or in your own community. There's a need in every community. So.
Yeah, for those, what is it?
Unaccompanied
students. There you go.
Yeah.
What's the word?
I know. I struggled with that.
But yeah, those teens that have had to grow up a little too fast and kind of have missed a childhood in a sense. And so they need that opportunity to be told who they are, instead of the culture telling them that they are not.
Exactly. I've gone ziplining a couple times in my life. One time was in Mexico, and we were like over the canopy forest, and I think there were maybe 10 or so different zip lines, and we couldn't see our destination, but we did it. Yep. And then the other time we were at a Christian camp. We were probably only a couple stories off the ground, and I could see where we were going, and and which one do you think was more scary? You would think the Mexico one, but it was actually the one at the Christian camp. And the reason was because, well, in Mexico, as we're standing on this platform, we've got the people that are helping us, and we're all harnessed in. And the way that they did it was you held onto the handles, and then they just said, when you're ready, just lift your feet. And then they held on to you, and then they asked you again, are you ready? And then they let you go. And so the other camp, it was one of those things where you had to sit on the edge of the platform as you held on, and you had to make the decision when you were going to let yourself go. And it was probably like an inch or two of free fall, but that free fall was so scary. Yeah. And it just reminds me of back to these kiddos, when you have the support, when you're ready to go and do and be an adult, but you're not quite ready to do it on your own, and you've got that support of somebody asking you, are you ready? And they're holding on to you, and maybe even a little longer than you need, right? Like my parents, but and like I am as a parent, but they aren't going to let you go until you're ready. And these kids, they kind of have to do it on their own. They have to ease themselves up to the edge, and they have to let themselves go, and they may not be ready, and they don't have the support that they need, and that can be scary. And so anyway, I was just thinking of that this morning, like, yeah, it's just a good organization to help these kids and give them the support that they need, so that they have the tools to be successful as they graduate from whatever they have next in their lives. So yeah,
I love that analogy. I've done ziplining in those two situations, and there's definitely one that's a little more terrifying.
Yeah, it was, and and I was in America even, and like I could speak the language with the but yeah, scary.
Well, I love your heart, and I love this book, and I look forward to hearing more about what you have coming up next.
Thank you for having me on here. This has been really good.
My pleasure. We'll see you around.
Okay, thanks, Valerie.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining our chat today. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Leslie and hear more about her book and the Unaccompanied Student Initiative in her Wyoming community. Next month, we'll be talking with Dawn Stevens and her books, The Little Pot Adventures, and her latest in that series, Burn Out, Fit In. Be sure to subscribe and join us again next month. Happy reading.